Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I was going to say live from Miami, but we're not live from Miami, but I have Rob Reich with me.
Good morning.
You've traveled the long distance from Orlando to Miami to see me.
I did. I came down on that thing called the Bright Line train. It was awesome.
The trains in America. I often think of the trains in America. Like, have you seen the film Under Siege 2?
Probably.
Steven Seagal.
Yes.
Hostage situation on a train.
Yeah.
Not that.
Right. No, we didn't do that. And there's one with Liam Neeson with the same thing, but no, we didn't do that.
That's a good film, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I will watch anything with Liam Neeson in. Literally anything with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he's a very, very good actor. But no, the Bright Line it's above 60 miles an hour and very few stops. And we got here in 3.5 hours and no stress.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I can get across the UK in 3.5 hours, and it cost me more than a flight to Miami.
Oh gosh. No, the Bright Line's also reasonably priced.
Yeah. So it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
We're talking all things LinkedIn and some of your observations, because you've been on LinkedIn for a very, very long time.
I'm not that old, Dean.
No, but I talk to people, and some people say, I've been on LinkedIn for a long time.
Yeah.
Like they got it like 10 years ago, that kind of way.
Right.
Never done anything with it.
Yeah.
What's been your observations of like how people have used LinkedIn and how it's changing?
Well, unfortunately, I think, let's say the average person, however you want to define that, they're on it because everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and they're, with LinkedIn, they're just not quite sure what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the FOMO, the fear of missing out if they're not on it, is great. And so they create a profile, and they use some picture from 1975, and a profile that looks like a resume, and the rest of it does look like a resume as well. But then they don't do anything. They don't know how to post, unfortunately. And it never generates any business for them, which is a shame.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a bit about conversion on LinkedIn, because that's the kind of $1 million question. How do you make money?
Yeah.
But I'm seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing this too, is like the people who have created those profiles like 10 years ago and not really done anything with it, kind of saw it as that kind of job thing.
Yes.
Now we're in this place where it's like, oh, this is like a hub of things going on, and I kind of need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
What you're talking to a lot. I know you know the real estate industry inside out.
Yeah.
They've done the Facebook thing. They've done the Instagram thing. What are some of the things that they're missing or don't get about LinkedIn that they come up all the time, people telling you this and this and this, and they just don't get it.
Yeah. I hear I'm on LinkedIn, but nothing's happening. Right. And I say, well, how do you use it? Oh, I don't. I just have the profile. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, when I joined LinkedIn back in 2007 or 8, it was just purely about a job platform.
Mm-hmm.
And you would post your resume, and there were a lot of recruiters on it. And there were a lot of people internal to a company who were in HR in charge of hiring, and that's what it was for. And today, it's a marketplace, right? It's a place where executives can meet, exchange ideas virtually, share ideas virtually, connect with potential vendors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a marvelous platform, but it's not that job platform anymore. In fact, and while LinkedIn keeps that part alive, it's not. I don't think it's the main point of it. So I see people who their headlines are like a headline of a resume, and they post either very few times or not at all. And I'm going to pick on real estate here for a minute. Real estate agents who struggle with it, and it's not their fault. They just don't have the training, right? So I'm not talking bad about real estate agents. They're hardworking people, but they post their latest listing.
Yeah.
And they post their latest review, and they post
It's
that they
marketing
sold.
propaganda, basically.
Yeah, it's yeah. They hope that if they post their listing that they'll look successful and that others will reach out to them. But when I ask the real estate agents how many new listings have you gotten from LinkedIn, then the answer is usually zero. So they make mistakes, right? When you post, you and I both know if you put a link to a listing or anything in the body of the post, you
Hmm.
get downgraded. And
Yeah,
that's one of the cardinal sins you can make these days. And it's easy to move that to the comments section or to not put the link there at all and just talk about the listing itself. And I think they should the subscriber, whether it's a real estate agent or an executive, listen, we want to hear from you, right? Don't link us out to something off the platform. You talk about it. You write about it. What this thing was and
yeah,
how it was great.
yeah. And you know, we've talked a little bit about some of the mistakes here. What do you think's the big opportunities here? Because I mean, maybe this is just my world. We all end up in our little echo chambers. I don't see a lot of kind of real estate, even legal and law firms and accountants and people like that. I don't see a lot of them doing it very well.
Mhm.
Now, maybe that's just the bubble I'm in, but I feel like maybe the real estate's a bit different, but definitely in the law and accounting. And you guys do marketing on legal. Every billboard has got a lawyer on going, I get
Yeah,
you 5 million,
yeah.
right?
Morgan and Morgan, and there's a plug for them.
You have that like um a bit more aggressive marketing in the US compared to the UK, but
Yeah,
there's a
for
lot
sure.
of kind of lawyers, accountants where they want to play that more sophisticated. We're a bit more upmarket, expert driven, and they're not really down and dirty for putting their faces on billboards. Or what do you think the size of the opportunity is for them on LinkedIn?
I'm going to say unlimited, but it is tremendous um, in that. So most professionals, let's just lump them all
Yeah.
into one group. They miss the opportunity so far on LinkedIn to deliver value. Now, how would you do that as an attorney or as a doctor or even as a real estate agent? Well, you and I agree that telling stories on LinkedIn about what you do in your day
Hmm.
that someone else might find valuable is absolutely the way to go. It's a great place to start. You probably wouldn't tell stories 7 days a week as you post, but talk about that client that came in and you helped them because they had this situation and that situation, because you never know who that resonates with. And even if it doesn't, it sets you as the expert that you know what you're doing, you know what you know what you're talking about, and you do good things for your clients. I had a chiropractor came to me one time and says, I don't know how to use LinkedIn. I said, it's easy for you. Talk about your patients. Obviously, you don't use their names or maybe just first name, but Joe walked in and he had this sciatica problem, and here's how he knew he had it and where it hurt and what I did to help him and how he is today. There's tons of people with sciatica problems today.
But you know what? Most people I see when they're kind of real heavy subject matter experts, what they'll do is try, rather than tell the story of Joe, they will try and do the kind of medical training of going, this is what this nerve does. And nobody really, if you're really knee deep in a topic, you will kind of want to know how that nerve works. Or a small percentage of people are curious about how that nerve works. The vast majority of people want to know, uh, my back's hurting. How do I fix it?
Yeah. Yeah. There is a chiropractor that videos, I forget where he is, but he videos his treatment sessions. Obviously he doesn't show faces, but of his patients, but he's in there and he shows people how a chiropractic session goes.
Mm.
And it's not painful and it's not risky. So I think there are two things people want to know. They want to know what the patient is dealing with,
Hmm.
not so much what the nerve is, how the nerve functions, as you say, but they want to know that there are other people out there dealing with the same thing that they are. And that could be a legal situation, a medical situation. It could
Yeah.
be something about a contract. It could be listing a house and you go through that. So it doesn't matter really what industry you are. They want to know what other people are going through as well. And they also want to know that that professional understands them,
Yeah.
empathizes with their situation. Listen, I know sciatica is, hard on your body and hard on you as a person. And I know listing at getting your house ready to be listed is difficult. And here's the things that other people are going through. And if you can empathize with somebody and they can feel that empathy, boy, you set yourself up for subject matter expert, SME, for
Yeah.
sure.
And that is the big issue, I think. We think I've got all this knowledge. If I just impart all that knowledge, people are bound to see that I'm the expert, and they don't,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to know, are you my expert?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Can you help me in my situation? But I guess that's the bit. We overcomplicate it. We make it more difficult than it needs to be.
I think people are uncomfortable posting, and so if they feel like they're not technical about stuff, no matter what vertical they're in, whatever they do, that they're not coming across as that expert.
Mm.
But you and I agree that it's much better in 2025 and going forward that you have that empathy,
Yeah.
understanding. You talk to their level. You're not using jargon,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Hey, listen, sciatica is a really difficult condition, and this is how people go through it
Mm-hmm.
and what they do about it."
Because that's why people buy at the end of the day. Like I, chiropractor, I want to crack my back. I really want to crack my back, right? So I've lost quite a lot of weight, but my back is all permanent back pain, right?
Yeah.
If somebody says to me like, and I see something going, have you lost weight? And since you've lost weight, you've got really bad back pain, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm going, that is me.
Yeah.
I want somebody to crack my back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed by YouTube videos, by the way, just an aside. You know those YouTube videos where you see people cracking their backs?
Well, that's that one chiropractor I was talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they put the towel around and
Oh,
yank their neck. And I kind of look at that and go, that might kill me or something, but I really want it done.
yeah. So let's not have the point lost that, while we're talking about sciatica and chiropractors, I think this is appropriate for you could be an engineer
Mm-hmm.
and talk about the struggles that your customers go through with the whatever solution you deliver,
Yeah.
and empathize with an electrical part, who knows what, not working well. It doesn't matter what you do. If you can impart value by informing somebody of something at their level that they understand, and then emphasizing with the problem, how could you not get business off of LinkedIn?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
But I think that comes to the thing of it's like showing people you're the expert versus trying to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Prove it says, do you know, I'm going to give you more information and show you how clever I am, show you how much stuff I know.
Mm-hmm.
Showing is, I'm going to guide you through how I solve a problem. Showing you, like, explaining why something matters,
Right.
not going, here's the 5 key nerve endings, or here's the structural points of this or that. That I think is where we get lost. And it's easy to do, because if you're like subject matter expert, what's the easiest thing to fall back on? The easiest thing to fall back on is all the stuff you've learned.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it? Information becomes valuable when it's put into a step-by-step process that solves a problem. And I think that's what people miss. It's like, actually, yes, it's not the information that makes you valuable to somebody else. It's how you can apply that information to somebody else's situation. And I think that's where we go wrong. And I go wrong as well. I think it's an inbuilt thing we want to do. We want to go, oh, let's show more people. It's much more uncomfortable to go, let me talk to you about how I've been struggling with this, or how we've been helping a client with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's difficult. But I want to ask you a bit about, and we talked about this earlier this morning, and I'm putting you on the spot. This whole thing's actually on the spot, really, because
Oh my
totally
gosh,
unscripted.
Dean, that's awful.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm going to say it for what it is. I think a lot of the problems people have about LinkedIn is nothing to do with LinkedIn. I spend more time talking people down from mental arguments they're having with themselves about LinkedIn
Hmm.
than they're using LinkedIn. For an example, niching.
Hmm.
Who's the target audience? What am I selling?
Hmm.
All of that stuff. Is this too personal? What if people I used to work with see this? What if I damage my reputation? What if all of this kind of
Hmm.
non-LinkedIn mental mind fucks?
Yeah.
Do you kind of come across people? I mean, this is not limited to LinkedIn, but a lot of people go through this and get stuck in this kind of loop of endless mind fucks.
Say it as it is. So yeah, all the time. And so it's interesting as you're talking, I'm thinking, there's a couple common denominators there about the mistakes, or maybe the less optimized, activity on LinkedIn. One is time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you got to get it done today, I got to generate a customer today. This post today is going to be the one that brings in new business to me. And that I think causes people to be too technical, too salesy, posting a listing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you that, how successful I am. And if you throw time out of the window to some degree, right? Not for everybody, but to some degree, and you just deliver value and deliver value and deliver value, and you doing your engagements you like and you
Mm-hmm.
comment on posts. And if you give LinkedIn a chance, 3 months, 6 months, maybe for some it's 9 months to a year. But then all of a sudden it turns into that machine that you want it to be. Then that investment in time is really worth it. And there are other things, as you were saying. Do I niche up or do I niche down? And so we should probably define niche here. The target audience, I define who that is,
Mm-hmm.
the ICP, ideal customer profile. But then I need to niche. There could be 30,000, 50,000, a million of those people. I can't serve all those people at once. I can't talk about, what I can do to help that many people at one time and have it be effective. So we're going to niche down. In my area, I tell real estate agents, hey, let's talk about Orange County or Seminole County.
Yeah.
And same for other professions as well. And if you're in a hurry, and you put that kind of pressure on yourself. And if you say, my target audience is everybody, you'll end up serving nobody.
Mm-hmm. How do you write a post that appeals to multiple people? It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, it is. But once you understand if you understand your ICP, and I think a lot of professionals do, right? If they sat down and thought about it.
I reckon they understand their ICPs. That's, I think, the problem.
Yes, multiples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can sell to salespeople, business owners, and marketers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of marketers. There's a lot of salespeople.
Right.
There's a lot of business owners. So even within those groups of people, that's quite big groups.
Yeah.
But if we just deal with like marketers or even and business owners, let's just compare those two. They both want to get good at LinkedIn. They both want to get leads, but the way they want to get leads, totally different. Marketers want more inbound. Yeah. Or they want things that are coming kind of at scale because they don't want to be humanly involved. Business owners, they want leads, but they don't want volume. Marketers want volume generally. So even though it's the same, I'm solving the same problem, how you're solving it is different. How those two groups talk about is it different. So I could be sat there going, hey, I'm helping people with LinkedIn, but those two groups think about LinkedIn, their problem's different. Marketers, often it's like, why is our content not getting traction? My boss is pressuring me to get leads. This side, oh, I am the boss. I'm the chief salesperson, chief marketer. I just need leads. I need 5 clients. That's all I need. Marketers, actually, we need a funnel with this. Same problem fundamentally, but the different roles, different aspects. So if I tried to write posts for both those two people at the same time,
Right.
and tried to appeal to them both with one post, I probably would miss the mark a little bit for both of them. I'd say something that the marketers would go, that's not for me. And I'd say something for the business owners that might go, that's not for me. So I kind of go middle of the road and miss the mark with both of them.
Yep. It's interesting as you're talking, I'm thinking that the thing that most people don't pay attention to on LinkedIn or other places as well, email campaigns, whatever it is that they don't acknowledge that their ICP's ICP, right? The customer's customer
Yeah.
is different in both cases, right? So they're solving different problems for different people, business person A and business person B, the small business owner in this case, has a different ICP probably most of the time. So they have to change their communication, have to have effective communication. So ours to them has to be effective to go down the chain. So I think a lot of people miss that. It's kind of one size fits all.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work.
Yeah. And nobody buys from one size fits all unless it's like, I want it cheap.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I got really good working with real estate agents when I started understanding what the homeowner goes through at the time to buy and sell a house, and afterwards, or even before, for that matter, getting ready, going through the transaction. And I've never been a realtor, but I took it on myself to learn to talk to realtors about the challenges, and title agents for that matter in real estate, about the challenges that they have. And once I understood from the beginning to the end, all the challenges, all the, when it comes to marketing and closing and post-closing and all the rest of it, then I could speak their language and I could post for them and give them things that they can take action on that they appreciated.
So I guess that when we come to this conversion piece, because this is the bit that we talked about earlier, everybody struggles with. I'm building brand, I'm posting, I'm getting stuff out there, but how do I get the conversion? We talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And I want to throw my 2 cents and ask your thoughts on this. Often I think people approach LinkedIn with a mind fuck of, surely I'm doing all this stuff, it should have immediate, instant return.
Right.
And it rarely does. Yeah, it rarely does have that kind of instant return. It's usually, somebody's seen you doing this, something's happened over here, something here. There's a load of things that have happened for you to get a lead from LinkedIn. So there's an element of playing a long game. And I'm not meaning, years here. I'm talking a few months. Often people don't just buy from strangers. There needs to be that like trust.
100%.
So there is an element of there's a period of time to actually get results. We always say this to clients: don't expect something in the first week, right? Bit like your billboards. I know you came down on the train, but whenever I'm driving around here, there's billboards along the road, and it's like you don't buy a billboard, put your face on it, and say personal injury lawyer, and then it's been up for a day, take it down.
Right.
You know that this is a kind of repetitive, somebody's got, or you buy a commercial or something like that. You're playing a jingle over and over and over again, because eventually people will be in the right place and they'll remember you. Or people, we see this all the time. Realtors, real estate agents, they can sell anybody's house, but not everybody's ready to sell their house yet.
Nope.
So you're marketing to be in that place that you're the choice. And I think people don't get that. That's part of, for me, is the big conversion, the first big conversion thing. How often do people talk to you about conversion?
A lot. Oh gosh, that's probably the most talked about thing is, okay, I'm going to jump into LinkedIn. I'm going to, get my profile looking the way it should. And I'm going to start liking and commenting on other people's posts, and I'm going to start making content. When am I going to get some business, and how I'm going to get some business? And, I don't think anybody can answer that question. But we know what doesn't work, first of all. How many times have you connected to somebody on LinkedIn and within a nanosecond, you got a DM from them saying, "Hey, Dean, we specialize in XYZ. Thanks for connecting. If we can ever help you with these needs, reach out, or would you like to do a quick call?" I get that quick call all the time. And that just doesn't work, right? So we know what doesn't work. So what does work is nurturing that relationship. And say those stats again that you like to quote about somebody needs to see you so many times on so many channels. How does that work?
It's something like, so it depends how you're doing it, but statistically, it's 7 or more times to consider, 7 or more times to remember your name, 7 or more times to remember your face, 7 or more times to have a look at your offer to actively consider it. So it's just 7 times before you've even got a chance.
Isn't it across multiple channels too?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just posting. It could be newsletters.
And Google's recently done some research about this whole, you know, how you see like ClickFunnels and you go onto a landing page and then it takes you to another one. And, and Google's done some research to say that there isn't a perfect flow. Yeah. So when you're designing and you see all these people build a customer journey, right? Google's done all the research and said, basically, you can't have this nice bow on top customer journey that works.
For
it just
everybody,
doesn't work.
Yeah.
People don't follow a path in the way you want them to. They go to YouTube and they go and look at this and they end up listening to a podcast. It's all very messy. And so what happens is you have somebody comes on the podcast, then find you on LinkedIn, and then they follow you on LinkedIn, and then, oh, they sign up for your newsletter. There's not a kind of like, oh, they find us on LinkedIn, they go into the newsletter, they come to a webinar, they go into a follow-up sequence. It's basically, you've got multiple entry points. Everything's top of funnel. Everything's middle of funnel. There's no easy journey. So you've got entry points, all this stuff in the middle, and exit points. And we want that like neat journey. And it isn't as neat as, you know, human beings are not that predictable.
Yeah, I've never used ClickFunnels the way they're thought of today, because it isn't one size fits all, and like we were talking about before. So I like your strategy a lot. So if the listener of this podcast wants to know how to do something, follow Dean. There's a little shameless plug for you.
Paying.
Yeah.
I'll pay you later.
That's right. And you'll see Dean posting. You'll see Dean. So those posts are written posts. They're video posts. You have the newsletter. Do you use the LinkedIn newsletter and the one that's off platform?
I've got an
both?
email and a LinkedIn newsletter because I'm insane.
Yeah. And you've curated an email list. You're out doing workshops. You're out doing training. So people see you in multiple different ways and places with basically the same message, but the message has nuances depending on where you are. And that's an instant win once they see you in several different channels.
So I get obviously a lot of business through my LinkedIn, a lot of inbound business, but I also go outbound. Obviously, hands down, for me, the inbound is the best stuff because it converts. It's like, it's almost sold. If somebody's inbound messaging me saying, hey, Dean, I need your help, it's almost sold. It's easier. So that's the stuff that I want more of. But the weird bit is you cannot, and this is the bit where people won't like this answer, you can't say how that happened. Like, there was a post. Yeah, my biggest client spent nearly $1 million with me. I can tell you they saw one post on one day that made an inquiry, right? But it wasn't that post. That post was the tipping point of their journey. I'd been connected to that person for 5 years, right? So I'm not saying it takes 5 years. I have had people come in that I've never been connected to. They saw a post today, but I cannot for the life of you tell you that there was one thing that tipped it over. I've had scenarios like somebody messaged Dave. You've not met Dave yet in the office, but messaged Dave and said, we've been in your email list. We love what you do. We're ready to work with you. They dropped 10 grand like that, right? We looked back at the journey. They'd been in the email list for 9 years. But at no point can any of the sales team say they spoke to them. So there's all these weird and wonderful things that go on that, you know, you could call it random chance, but it's actually repeated patterns of activity. What are they? There's a guy who said this to me a few years ago, and it kind of stuck with me. Was there's two types of approaches to things. There's trying to be in the right place at the right time, which is cold outreach,
Mhm.
which is posting one thing and hoping it works.
Mhm.
I'm going to do this, and hopefully, right now, somebody's going to see it, and it's going to tip them over the edge, and it's going to convert.
In a rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like being in the right place at the right time,
Mm-hmm.
or there's being in the right place for the right time.
Yeah. Like that.
It's like such a cool saying. I know
Yeah.
it's only a play on words, but
Yeah.
the shift in thinking is I'm doing the content and I'm not putting all the pressure on it's got to deliver today because it's compound benefits with content. I'm building relationships and following that process. I'm doing the whole piece on events and doing that. I'm doing the newsletter thing and I'm doing the right things all the time because people will be at various different stages of their journey and I want to stay in their world for those journeys.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting. You and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about the real estate industry, and I said, you know, Dean, it's interesting. There are 27,000 real estate agent subscribers on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
in Central Florida.
Yep.
In that same area, there are roughly today, the real estate market's down, but there's roughly about 2,700 closings. So that means that 90% of the real estate agents in Central Florida don't get a paycheck this month. And it's probably a little bit worse because some of those agents are really good. They close 10 deals a month or maybe more. So there's a lot, maybe it's 95% don't get a paycheck this month. And I tell them all, I know where there's 30, 40, 50, 100,000 homeowners that you can connect with and do business with. And they say, well, where? If it's only 2,700 closings a month, I said next month and the month after,
Mm-hmm.
the next 12 months, there's going to be about 30,000 come online,
Mm-hmm.
ready to buy and sell a home. So you have to get to them before they're ready so that you're there for them.
Yep.
To your point, you're there for them. And you can apply that same logic to almost any industry. There are only so many customers that are ready to buy today.
Yep.
But there's a lot more of them times 12 over the next year, times 24 the next 2 years. And those who play that longer game, it doesn't need to be that long because some will come online and ready to buy next month.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can play that longer game, boy, you win. You
Mm-hmm.
just you won't have those months where you don't get a paycheck.
Yeah. Do you remember in July when we were doing that workshop in Orlando?
Yep.
And I know there was a whole different bunch of different real estate people in the room, and we talked about how you could be the most famous
Yes.
real estate agent in an area in Orlando,
Yes.
and you could probably do it in 3 months.
Yes.
And it was like, here's what you need to do. Number one, go and pick a zip code.
Yeah. Right.
Pick a zip code,
Yeah.
niche.
Yeah.
Start talking to that zip code and start connecting in that zip code.
Yep.
Start showing people, giving them stuff, helping them think about what will help them improve their value, improve their sale price, everything that matters to them. And you go, right, I'm going to dominate a zip code on LinkedIn. And they would be the most famous person, famous realtor, real estate agent, whatever you want to call them, in that zip code. So when people go, do you know what? Maybe we should sell our house. Hey, I know the person, see them all the time. And that's how that kind of business works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not kind of like you have to be just around, visible for the right time.
There's a real estate agent in Longwood, Florida, where I used to live. And he dominates Longwood. His name is Frank B. I can't remember. I can't remember how to say his last name, but it doesn't matter. But Frank kills it in real estate. He is one of the go-to. There's others, but he is one of the go-to agents in Longwood, and maybe a little bit more. It's in Seminole County, but he every month in my mailbox is hey, I just sold this house, and how much it's for, and it's informative. So it does go against my grain a little bit. That's the information, but in his case, he's so repetitive and on time with that that it works.
Yeah.
And when people know who he is, and he is a very successful agent. So being there and continuing to be there for a niche does make you the most famous
Mhm.
guy in the room. And John Morgan did the same thing. John Morgan, the attorney, he says he has the largest um, personal injury law firm in the world. Far be it for me to argue that. He's a very successful guy. TV ads, billboard ads, successful law practice, no question. I mean, he backs it all up. But how people know him is his face.
Yeah. And that is the long-term piece of, if we think about kind of LinkedIn in two camps, right? And I'm not saying you throw the baby out with the bathwater here. There was a study done a few years ago called The Long and Short of It. And there's a few people who talk about this on LinkedIn, but no, I don't think people really get it because instinctively it goes against our nature. And it is this: the things that build your brand actually will last. They will generate revenue for a much longer period, albeit in the short term. Building a brand on LinkedIn in the short term is probably not going to make you much money.
Right.
But if you do that consistently over and over and over and over again, you will make way more money doing that
Absolutely.
than anything else. On the flip side, the more tactical things that you do, like outreach and stuff like that, can inadvertently, I'm not saying completely cold outreach, but things that you can do now in the next couple of weeks to actually get clients and business often have zero long-term benefit.
Right.
So when people are approaching LinkedIn, I am always looking at what can we do now that will give them something to get going
Mm-hmm.
that will also, or they're doing something alongside it, which will compound to give them that brand reach.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody says, like, I've had people say, Dean, I'd love your LinkedIn, right? My LinkedIn took 10 years to build.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't wait 10 years to make money from it.
Yes.
So there are things I'm doing today to make money on LinkedIn:
Yep.
webinars, following up webinars, newsletters, email lists, long term. And you have to have that mix. And the long and short of it is really good. I'll send it to you. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a bit dry in places, but it's good,
It's okay.
right? But it really basically goes down the line of you need a 60-40 split. That's roughly what you need: 60% on brand, 40% on what they call activation, converting people.
Okay.
And if you don't have that mix, what you end up with, you go broke because you're building brand without making any money.
Right.
You're burning budget, basically.
Yeah.
Or you go the other way and you start to make money, but every month's a hill. Every month you're climbing up, trying to do the same thing over and over again with no compound benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the mix that people have to have. What can I do that's effectively going to get me some results kind of in the next quarter? And then what are the other things I'm doing that makes this easier longer term?
Mm-hmm.
And most people never escape that. I'm doing the short term, short term, short term, short term. And then when it gets a bit tougher, there's a tough season coming in, they're just competing with everybody else.
Cold outreach is just about dead. Those very tactical things that you're talking about of making cold calls, cold emails. If I am typical of other business people, I don't read those emails, and I don't take. I mean, my phone tells me if it's a spam call,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't take them. So you got to look for something else. You and I agree again that LinkedIn channel is a superb way to go. And if someone were to ask me today, as they have asked me, and I'm sure you, hey, what can I do right now to get my LinkedIn going better? I would say, sit down and define your ICP. Now, that's not sexy,
Mm-hmm.
right? People don't hear me say that and go, oh my gosh, that's going to make my life so much better. But when they do it, when they go through that function, and you and I have done it for me, went through my ICP and we identified several, as you said, ICPs, and then start connecting to those ICPs. I look at here's a very good example. You talk to real estate agents. I'm going to pick on them, but they're my kin. And I say, well, how many followers do you have on LinkedIn? Oh, I've got 3,500, which is a pretty good number. And who are they made up of? um, they go, I'm not sure. So we run the filter. I show them how to look it up. And 3,000 of the 3,500 other real estate agents. That's not going to get you business.
Mhm.
So if you start with the basics, because the basics are very, very powerful of just those two things, and then you work into the other things, that's when this platform is going to work for you. But if
Mm.
you're skipping steps, if you're in a hurry, say that again, if you don't know who your audience is in a tightly defined, and they're not listening to you or seeing your posts, then oh, that's my watch, not my
Mm.
phone. Sorry. If they're not connecting with you as because they're your ICP, then you're wasting your time. And I think people don't even understand the very beginning of that.
I don't think they understand, and I'll use it because we're in Miami and I know the area here better than Orlando. Although I'm growing in Orlando. Yeah. If I was a real estate agent, I'd go, okay, I can serve all of Miami. That's a lot of
It's too many.
place,
It's too
right?
much. Yeah.
Now I can try and be well known in Miami
Mm.
with what, 6, 7 million people in the kind of wider Miami area. I can try and do that. Or I can be the most well known real estate agent in Wynwood.
Yeah.
Right. And I can talk to the residents of Wynwood. I can share things that are going on and be like in the middle of Wynwood.
Yeah.
That's more powerful. But we're wired as humans to think if I could just talk to the whole of Miami.
Yes.
And what happens is they don't get anywhere near making a
Dilute it.
dent.
Right. Dilute it. By the way, if you're going to become indoctrinated in Miami, don't call it Miami anymore. If you want to be really cool, you call it the 305.
305.
Yes. Do you know why?
No,
It's the area code.
305. Is it?
Yeah.
33305.
305 is the original. There are others, but
Right.
that's the original area code of
Wow.
Miami.
Okay.
That's how
305.
you, if you want to be cool, Dean, and I know you do, you are a cool
Yeah.
guy. You say, I work in the 305.
So here's a really fun story, right? India, who's out with me, first time out in Miami, right?
Mm.
I have baseball caps. So if you see me at an event, I have a baseball cap
Mm-hmm.
with an M on it,
Mm.
right? India always thought I was championing the Maverick brand,
Yes.
but the cap actually is the Miami Marlins baseball cap.
Yeah, they have a big M on their caps as well.
Yeah.
I would have agreed. I agree with India. I would have thought Maverick,
Yeah.
but are you a Marlins fan?
No, I'm a Miami fan, and it has an M, so it's just like
Just for M, yeah,
how do I tie the two together?
yeah. So you could be you live or work in the 305. If you like, the Hurricanes, you say I'm a Canes fan. You abbreviate that. There's other colloquialisms that you could use, but let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Yeah, but again, I think just going back to your point, we're always in a rush. We need to get from A to B in our car as fast as we can. We need to travel as fast as we can, and because we feel like we're losing out on life if we're not rush, rush, rush. And I'm guilty of that. I'm sure. Got to rush to get dressed and rush to have breakfast and rush to get to the office and all kinds of different things. And if you apply that to your marketing and your sales, and you apply it to your business, if you get in a rush, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to get the results as fast as you want. You're going to get disenchanted with it.
Yeah.
And when I slowed down on LinkedIn and I started working my followers on my first account, and I grew that, I grew that over time to over 10,000 followers for the first company I started. I mean, that's when everything changed. I didn't have to make a cold call.
Mm-hmm.
I had a website. Everything funneled through the website. It was the easiest thing I've ever done in outreach. Was I just connected and posted without without worrying about, am I going to get something back or when is it going to happen? All of a sudden, people started looking at me. I didn't even have a link to my website. They would just go to the
They
website,
would, yeah.
yeah, and fill out the form. I want more information. And we were doing, this is a technology company, a real estate technology company. We were doing, anywhere from 3 to 20 demos a month from the website. And people ask me, well, how do you get all these leads? I said, just come.
Mhm.
It was phenomenal, but it didn't happen overnight.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you're going to say the same with Maverick. You when you first started Maverick, it might have been crickets or close to it in the beginning, and now it's, you know,
Yeah. So,
hand over fist.
ooh, good question. So actually slightly different. I think LinkedIn was a linked. When I first pivoted, because I had that same challenge, by the way, because I know about email and I used to work in TV,
Mm,
all of that stuff. So I thought I've got this massive expertise I could sell in on LinkedIn. And I wanted to sell the whole thing. The first time I did it, and I said, I'm going to do a marketing masterclass,
yeah,
nobody bought.
right. I remember that story. You telling that
Yeah,
story. Yeah,
nobody bought. So I had this scenario where I've got all this expertise, but because I was trying to do this,
yeah,
nobody bought. And then LinkedIn was a bit early then, so there was a little less resistance to messaging. So I used to focus on geographic areas, and this is before pandemic and everything. So you'd go and meet people,
yeah.
and I would kind of work a group of people in my network, build some relationship, and then do the old sales trick of saying, "Oh, I'm in the area,"
Sure.
and I'd say that to like 40, 50 people, and then line up meetings to go and see them. And that's how I used to use LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And then I started doing the events. First event, like when I decided I'm going to have to go all in on LinkedIn. And I didn't like the idea of doing all in on LinkedIn.
Mm,
It just felt like I'm making myself less.
yeah.
And I didn't like that
And
because
what if it didn't work out?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, but I could help this and I could help that. And I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice by saying I'm this.
Yes.
That was really difficult. But then I did first event, 4 people. It was a bit awkward. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you do an
Sure.
event, 4 people show up,
Yeah.
you feel
You're a
like,
little bit embarrassing,
yeah,
right?
but I did it. Next one, 7 people, 21, 76,
Yeah.
120.
Right.
I've done a 300 one. So
Yeah.
it all compounds. And somebody said to me, but Dean, how did it all compound? And I said, I can't explain it,
Hmm.
but people know, people realize, people see it, and it kind of joins up a picture in their mind. And I had one today, this morning. Somebody came to one of my events before the pandemic.
Mm.
So that's what, nearly 6 years ago.
Yep.
That's scary. Nearly 6 years ago, they came to one of my events, and they said, I've moved companies. Our sales team's not really good at LinkedIn. I remembered you and want you to do it. And I was like, 6 years?
Amazing.
Yeah. And that's the bit I think people don't get on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
They might get the, oh, I'll do it for a few months because I want the benefits. But actually, there's way more benefit in playing a very, very long game. The long
Yep.
of it in the
Yeah.
long and short of it report.
So let me ask you a question. You bring up the live events, and you do a tremendous job in front of people, both live and on camera. But let's just say, let me put you on. I'm gonna put you on the spot for a second.
Okay.
Let's just say you've got a LinkedIn subscriber, executive, small business owner, doesn't matter, and they're not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not comfortable with posting. They're not comfortable being in front of the camera. They're not comfortable standing up. God, standing up in front of the people, they'd rather slash their wrist than do that. So, how do you coach those people?
Okay. So the first thing is, right, just because video is the most popular thing doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't do video on LinkedIn and do okay. Yeah. So yes, it's true. Video is the most popular medium, but you don't have to do it.
Hmm.
You can do text posts, you can do carousels. So that's the first thing, right? If video is a big mountain for you, maybe you pick off something a bit easier.
Would you put live events in with that as well?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now, why did, like, you may not know this, but I did my first LinkedIn Live in 2020.
Okay.
Right. So because of the pandemic, I
Yeah.
was doing
Sure.
everything in person.
Had to.
Right. I did my first LinkedIn Live and I had 3 gins because I was terrified about it. What if I make a mistake? What if this? What if the other? And I learned how to do that in real time. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I'm going to answer your question by not answering your question or answering it within a way that people don't want.
Hmm.
The only way to, if you go, I'm not good at video, fair enough, right? But I was not good at video until I'd done it. So if you hypothetically, let's say it's you and you're brilliant on video, right? It's like you've done TV work before, maybe, I don't know, right? But like if I was rubbish at video and I needed to get good at video, I'd have to do lots and lots of video.
Yep.
There's only one way. It's Malcolm Gladwell's, I think he says 10,000 hours, but I think 100 hours you could be done, right?
You could be way better than 100,
Yeah.
sure.
So I decided I was going to do it and I was going to do it live. Now people go, I do not know how you can go on live and talk for an hour to nobody
Yeah.
and hold an audience, because I did it so many times.
Yeah. And you're extremely good at that.
But if you ask me to pre-record, like 5 tips to do this or that or the other, I cannot do it because I've avoided it.
Yes.
So I have human avoidance. I avoid doing pre-recorded scripted videos. And so when I try, I mess them up. I go off topic. They take far too long. But if I decided I need to nail this, I don't want to do it. I like the live. I like the kind of free-flowing Dean version.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to master that pre-recorded stuff, I just have to probably do 100 videos. Same with posts.
Yeah.
If I want to get good at posting, blogging, whatever, I have to write. Now, what most people do is they post and post and post and never go, what can I learn from the last one that's better? And the great thing about doing lives, because you cock up in real time, did you say that here, cock up?
No,
Mess
that's a
up.
very British thing, mess up.
Yeah. So because
but I know what you mean.
I mess up in real time,
Yep.
I can kick myself and say, oh, I know I won't do that again. And it becomes instinctive to not do that again.
Yeah.
So you just have to, what is it? The only way is through.
So when you do your off the cuff recordings, do you have an outline that you follow, or do you do anything at all? Or are you just going right,
I know some basic stuff. So stories,
Yeah.
I have to tell stories to explain things,
Yeah.
and I have to have some points. So when I'm going to a live, I've got usually a problem I'm going to talk about, 3 key points I want to make, and some stories in mind. But really, I have 3 bullet points in front of me.
Yeah, brilliant. That's awesome. Yeah. There are some people who listen to this and they hear you say 100 hours, who will say, yeah, I can do that. You don't even have to post it, right? You could just record and then watch it yourself.
Well, I would counter that.
Okay.
Right? Because I've seen people go into that perfectionist trap of where they do that and nothing ever gets posted.
Right.
And I'll tell you now, this is just me, right? Every time you do a video, you will always see how it could be better. Always, right? I will watch this back where it'll be edited and all this kind of stuff. And I'll go, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. So no piece of content is ever finished.
No.
So I agree with you. Get comfortable. If you pick up a phone and start talking at it, you will get more comfortable at it.
Yes.
But there comes a point where you go, I've got comfortable with that techie bit and doing that bit. I have to post it, because then there's the apprenticeship of doing it on the job. Like there's the apprenticeship of getting used. This is what the tool does. But then there's the apprenticeship of getting better at the posting.
Well, until you post, you don't put yourself out there, and you have to put yourself. So maybe we give them a pass for the first 5 hours out of the 100, and then you gotta do it for sure.
And the great thing about I know we've focused on video here, but this is the same for written posts. It's the same for anything. The great thing about TikTok is you've got so many different people using TikTok.
Oh my gosh!
In so many different ways, it's become acceptable to literally just pick up a phone and go, do you know what? This is what I'm thinking, and people love it.
Yep.
And in fact, I'd argue that some of that slick editing now, sorry, people here, right? So the slick editing, actually, some people like the kind of rough cut stuff.
Works against you. Yeah.
Where it's like, it feels like we're just having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when it comes to then the written side of things, whether it's a post or a comment on another post or an email blast, or just in any kind of communication. You and I are big fans of AI,
Hmm.
and we use ChatGPT. And full disclosure, we don't use ChatGPT to do the writing for us, but to help to us. It's like a copywriter. Just
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have to pay him.
Yeah.
Well, I pay $20 a month
Yeah.
for my account, and I think a lot of people don't know how to use AI, or are uncomfortable with AI. And AI can generate also scripts for you if
Yeah.
you are a script person. So there's a lot of help out there for you if you know where to go get it, and if you want it. And I think what's your stance on ChatGPT?
So I agree that, well, a lot of AI at the moment the worst use of AI that I see is people getting AI to replace their thoughts.
Yes.
Like, write me a post about LinkedIn and it comes out with something nonsense, you put it up and you can tell those posts
Hmm.
everywhere.
Lots of emojis.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think that that's a good way of doing it.
Mm.
But because we've been doing this, and you've seen it, you're using it as well. We've been going, hang on a minute, let's make AI simple. Let's give you a way to generate ideas, and let's give you a way to structure what you want to say in a way that doesn't mean you have to be a copywriter.
Mhm.
So, in other words, I know what I want to say. I just want it to be written well.
Mhm.
That is a brilliant use of AI. So, we're absolutely advocating people doing that. And then I don't know whether you've seen my new gadget, the buyer persona. You have,
Did
haven't you?
last week, yeah.
Yeah. So I've just took it to a whole other level where I've basically made an interactive customer,
Hmm.
and I can chat with that customer and say, what do you think of this landing page?
Mm.
Tell me what's wrong with this landing page
Hmm.
from the customer's perspective.
Yep.
I think that's a cool use. So a lot of people are using AI to kind of replace themselves. I think it can enable you.
Hmm.
So if you are that kind of nervous person and you want to write posts, but you're not a copywriter, you're not a natural writer, you go, well, what I do is I use a voice recorder, get the transcript, give it to AI and say,
Hmm.
tidy this up.
Yeah, I think most people don't. They think of AI as just a box,
Mm-hmm.
a smart box, but a box nonetheless. And I throw stuff in, and I'll get something back. What they don't know is that they can train that box,
Mm-hmm.
that they can talk to that box before and give it instructions, and before it actually generates something. And so when I use AI to write a post, or anything for that matter, I might spend anywhere from 2 or 3 minutes to maybe 20 minutes just
Mm-hmm.
training it on what I'm trying to accomplish. And if I spend the time in the front end, then when I get off the back end is very, very close to what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use. I clean it up a little bit, add a few things, maybe subtract a few things, but the whole process takes overall less time because I can keep reusing that training over and over and over again. And I get something out that's really close to what I want to say, and it sounds just like me,
Mm-hmm.
which is amazing. And you've helped me, some of these things. You must be leading the world in AI training for marketing, because the stuff you've done so far, for me, has been game changing.
Well, by the AI crowd standard, probably not, because what I'm trying to do is help people apply AI into what they're already doing.
Yep.
Where what you see on LinkedIn is a lot of people saying, here's another shiny object.
Yes.
Like, oh, you could do this with this, you could do this and this. And people go, oh, wow, look at that, what you can do. But there's no practical application.
Right.
So, the whole turning your photo into a figure, right? It's a great little trend. Everybody wants to know how to do it. And
What do you go?
what happens tomorrow?
Yeah.
Do we make more figures?
Yeah. Right. No. Yeah.
So there are those little fun quirks, but I'd go, how do we scale you? How do we help you follow up better? I've even built a what I do generate. I'll show you this in a minute. It's a what I do generator. And it's like a lot of people get overcomplicated and can't explain what they do simply. So you just chat to ChatGPT and it will output a one pager and say, this is what you do. Here's how you do your elevator pitch. Here's how I do a 30-second elevator pitch.
Cool.
So it's giving you like simple ways to communicate.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give people handy things that they could use over and over and over again with AI. Whereas I think the AI crowd are like caught in the shiny objects.
if you look at AI as somebody working for you,
Mhm.
that's brilliant, hardworking, never takes a day off. I like that part. I've got Chat GPT on my phone. I've got it on my iPad. I've got it on my PC. But I look at AI as a part of the team,
Mhm.
right? And when I give somebody on my team something to do, a lot of times I'm going to review their work. If it's really important, I'm going to review their work. Well, you do the same thing with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And when I give somebody a task, a human being now I'm talking about, I got to make sure they understand what I want, how I want them to go about it, answer questions that they may have about the best way to do it. Well, the AI box is no different
Mhm.
from that. It turns out, and if you spend that time, it turns out some fantastic work. And again, the stuff you're doing, training the model to the voice, training the model to the buyer, training the model to review the work, and scoring it is tremendously helpful. And this is, I mean, how long have you been doing this? Just for a year or two now?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just getting started. And
I think from a marketing point of view, and this is probably controversial and people will disagree with me, but I think the most valuable thing that AI can do, because it can create all sorts of stuff,
mhm.
but the most valuable thing it can do is prompt you.
Yes,
Everybody's thinking about what prompts for AI.
yep,
Actually, the best use of AI is to help me think better.
yep. Do you ever ask AI, after you've trained it, how could I have done this better so you understand?
I've done that, but the other one I'm using at the moment is I asked AI to give me all of the questions I would not ask about my buyer persona
Exactly. Yep.
and then ask those questions.
Yeah.
All of the things that I would not think of. And that's where I'm looking at. I want to understand my customer better. And I now need to uncover the things I don't know. Because that's the problem is when I'm talking to AI, I'm coming from my perspective, talking to AI.
hmm
I want to know what my customer's actually thinking. It's a bit like doing a survey, right? Um, when we create a survey, one of the biggest dangers of you creating a survey is you write the survey in a way that it confirms what you already know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The danger with using AI is you just use it in a way that gets you what you want.
Yes.
But actually, I want AI to give me something that I hadn't thought of,
Right.
or
Right.
it's not on my radar, because that's how we become more competitive and we offer better value when we realize the gaps in the market.
When I train an AI on a particular task, one of the things I like to do. So here, if you're listening to this and you want to get more out of AI immediately, train the model, get the output, whatever you want, and then go back and ask it, how could I have done this better so that you understand what I want? And it will train, as you say, it will train, it trains me, and it does a little, after action, as they say, report, about how I could have done this better. And I learn and I learn and I learn. And as I get better at training, then the output gets better and faster. And the whole thing kind of works. We become a better team.
Mm-hmm. We're out of time.
Well, darn it.
I could go for an hour, but we can't.
Feels like it's been 15 minutes.
I know. Rob, always good to see you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you for coming to the 305.
The 305,
You have to come up and visit the 407 pretty soon. That's Orlando.
the 407.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, good. Thanks, Dean.